In terms of good, not great, right? What are we seeing? What are we struggling with?
She acknowledges when I ask her to come.
Okay.
It's not always that 1 foot, 2 foot radius to a sit. She'll sit 5 feet away. She will come towards me and then get distracted by one of her friends and veer off like 5 feet away from me. So she stops what she's doing when she's far. Or if I stop her from playing with her friends, she will come. It's just not a perfect come.
Okay.
So it's good. I mean, she definitely knows what she's supposed to do. It's just that.
That last little bit, yeah. Now, how often are you doing leash versus no leash?
Like 50-50.
Okay, so that's part
kind
of
of
the
depends who's at the park.
Sure.
So yeah.
So, because you have not only like space, but you also have realistic context in terms of distraction. Is we build up to that, right?
Okay.
And you're like already in it, which is fine. But I always keep that leash on because that's what allows you to get that last 5 foot.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, let's say I call Luna, she's moving towards me, I shorten it, right? And she stops short. I keep moving until she does return 100%, right? But when I shorten it, it allows me to limit her options.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I have no leash, she can go back out again.
Right.
Or if I have the full 30-foot leash, she's still slack, she can again go off.
Right.
That's why we do that shorten, so they can close that gap so we don't have that problem. Okay?
Definitely.
Did you get a new haircut or something?
Oh no, I blow dried it.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's something that's different. Like, you had it, like,
yeah, I dyed it pink, but it's almost washed out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought I saw some like coloration
Just a
there. I was
little
like,
bit,
there it is.
A little bit, yeah. It's like a rinse. It's like
Was this
it's
all
like-
within the week?
Yeah, I just did it on Friday. It washes right out.
Oh,
I'm so
gotcha.
glad. But
I was
yeah.
like, something's different here.
No, I had a video call earlier, so I actually dried my hair today.
Oh, okay.
Quarantine.
So yeah, so that's all normal stuff, okay, in terms of what we're seeing. In order to get foolproof recall, like, there's a lot of steps, right? So like, for instance, with Melissa, I think they did it for a couple weeks and they were already like just doing it, right? But I was like, but there's more, like you keep practicing. But she had a really realistic moment, and that was funny. Wade was there with Winnie, because he said, like, oh yeah, I saw it, was when Nash just took off.
Okay.
And I think they were on the stoop chilling, and then like he just took off and ran across the street, and then she had to jack it up, max it out, and made him return.
Oh, I think she did have to max it. I did hear. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then she talked to me, she's like, was that correct? And I think we hadn't even covered recall yet, but she had to do something.
Right.
And I was like, technically, it's either you gamble losing your dog, or you gamble getting your dog back by using this tool, right?
Yeah.
And then, if anything, that's what actually helped her kind of more so foolproof for recall.
Okay.
Because Nash knows where that collar can go. Does that make
Sure.
sense? But that's not it's not really so much a training method. Like I wouldn't. Right. But it's in case we need to.
Okay.
At least not that early on. What I do later on is once I feel the dog has a good concept, is I will suggest to the owner and say, don't have to, but what I suggest is have Luna out. She's on the 30-foot leash or whatever. I'm still holding it. She's all doing her own thing. She's super distracted. I will tap out the collar and 127 tap tap tap.
Okay.
And I go, what does she do? And maybe she tries to run off. And then I use 127 to make a return.
Okay.
Or maybe she just returns.
Sure.
And the reason why I do this is to prep for like what happened with Nash. You see that? So it's already been done in a controlled context. So should we have to do that, we're not worried about is she going to be able to figure it out. We've already done it. In Melissa's case, it was like, well, we didn't have that opportunity. It just happened. But she's not the first person that's happened to. It happened to Narenga as well.
Okay.
It happened to Travis, where Roxy took off after a rabbit, and almost she went into the kids' playground. So then she 127, and she shrieked at 180.
Okay.
And then she's like, was that okay? I'm like, yeah, because it was either that or she's in the street now.
Sure.
And the same thing happened here, except there was Roxy and another dog going for a tennis ball at the same time, and then it triggered a fight. And Narenga 127 continued it.
Okay.
And Roxy pulled right out of the fight and we went straight to Narenga.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I will tell people like do it like we do the work first, make sure the dog's got a lot of practice and stuff, and then I go, how foolproof is this? If it's not foolproof, I can prove it. And in this way, in case something happens, it's already been done. Because the other thing is, it's not just the dog, you have to count like yourself. Like if she's running away and you can't catch her, you're freaking out. And then you have this tool and you got to think through the moment of, can I make her come back? What can I do? What have I done? To get her to return despite the emotional discomfort, despite the physical discomfort, because she's going to be shrieking.
Sure.
and all that stuff. So there's more involved with it when it comes to realistic contact. Okay, but we'll cover what you're having issues with today.
Yeah.
And then it's just rehearse until you're.
I think she just has to do more homework with the leash on. Just when it gets crowded, I tend to take her off because it's just a pain. I need to go more when her friends are. I'm thinking it's a great distraction.
Which it is.
But it's better with the leash.
If you got one or two,
okay.
or if let's say it's Nash, Shadow, and Roxy, and you try it with the three of them, she's got the leash on, and you don't making it easier. You could drop it, right? But just be nearby, because trying to hold it, keeping it up, and the dogs, right? So you give yourself some leeway there. And let's say you try to do a practice run, and then like Nash is in the way, and this is called Nash.
Okay, right.
Because you got 3 dogs that are under control. So that gives you kind of some space to work. I will say you do want to be careful. I did have a client have her dog on a long leash because it didn't know recall. It got tangled up around the leg and it broke the dog's leg.
Yeah, that's my only fear. Someone else's dog. I don't mind if I do something to my dog. I mean, I mind.
Sure, right. You care about it.
I'm nervous about someone else's dog getting tangled up when it gets crowded. So we'll just go when it's less crowded.
So if you do remove her from the leash at this stage, what I typically recommend is I ignore the recall.
Okay.
And I just go to grab her and leash her up and go if you can.
Okay.
So you avoid teaching her that because so it's like you call her, she goes, do I have to come? You're trying to make her come. She doesn't fully, and then she kind of learns that.
Okay.
She's like, oh, mom didn't
it's
have
okay.
as much power.
Then I went to Tilly or something.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay. Otherwise, I mean, it's normal stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else?
No, everything else she's doing really good.
Excellent. So we'll go ahead and, is that a second leash there?
This is just her short leash and then her long leash.
Okay, so it's going to clip that long leash like we did at the facility. Good, and then I will take the end of the short leash here. And we're going to just show me what you remember, okay? How you've been practicing. And we'll go kind of lengthwise here. And what's your number at the moment?
She is at a 44 just because she shockingly did not want to come say hi to you, Jesse. I don't know what you did.
She actually would be pretty easy right now.
Pretty good right now. All right, and then I'm going to give one tap and I'm going to see O-F.
Yes, however you do practice.
Okay. Luna, come.
Good. So one thing we want to make sure that we do, remember?
What, only one?
Yeah, everything else is
I'm
fine.
my brain. No.
Backwards.
Oh, move backwards.
Yeah,
yes.
At least 3 steps. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I usually only move when she's not coming right at me, so I have been doing that wrong.
Yeah, so once you, regardless if she's not moving or moving at this point, let's say you call her and she's moving towards you, that backwards kind of just reaffirms that was correct.
Okay.
Or if she's not moving and she's on the long leash, at some point when you move backwards, tension's going to bring her towards you.
Okay.
And then you'll redirect her. Okay. So at least 3 steps.
You want to come?
Tap, tap, tap,
Come.
tap, back. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Good enough. Good
All right,
enough.
just do a few more bubbles. More.
Good enough. Yes, good enough.
So what was the occasion for the pink hair?
I didn't have a video call for a couple days.
So you just
That was
decided,
it. Yeah, it's just it's like a little conditioning treatment, and I'm so fair it doesn't stick very well, so it's just fun. I was out with my girlfriends and was like, this will be a fun girls' day thing.
Whenever you're ready.
Luna, come.
Tap, 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 back.
Come.
Tap, tap. Keep going. Tap, tap, back. Tap,
Come.
tap, back. You got it. There she goes. Good.
Luna.
So there, no repeats. 1 come.
1 comment.
Use the remote. Yeah.
Am I putting pressure on the leash or letting the tapping?
So what will happen there is, so Luna come, right? She moves towards you, you're just moving back, right?
Okay.
If she's there, she got tangled.
Right.
So she needed more direction. So you had to move back to force the tension to get her to figure out what to do.
Okay.
Now in that moment, she got tangled, right? And I go, move back, keep doing it because it's a distraction. So we're we're trying to take advantage of every little thing.
Okay.
So the tangling of the legs isn't a bad thing. I just watch how bad is it.
Okay, right. She can still move.
Exactly. So I'm trying to, and because some dogs do panic, where they get tangled up and they're like, and they're like freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, work, right? And then I'm like, but you're shrieking. I'm like, yes, go,
take
right?
advantage.
Because that's going to be life when you need it to work.
Yeah.
So then we just keep an eye on it. She figured it out, but in that case, you're helping her.
Okay.
You know, realistically speaking, she wouldn't be tangled, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But with that power, she's thinking, what's more concerning, this thing in my legs, or the fact that I need to turn them on? Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can make this discomfort override the discomfort of what's going on here. That's exactly how that stuff works.
Sure.
It's kind of shitty if you think about it, but realistically speaking, like that's just how life is.
Right.
You know.
Train through the discomfort. I like that. Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna do a couple more.
Luna, come.
Tap. Lazy come there. Yep. Good girl. One more. And you're at 44 still? Okay. So we're gonna do one more at 44. Then we're gonna work on the next bit, and then we're probably gonna play with her number as well.
Okay.
Okay. So we can get a little bit more umph in that return. That and the umph will help kind of tighten up the spacing as well.
Okay. Luna, come.
Good. Tap. Hold right there. Good. Now what I'm going to have you do here is perfect. Go ahead and grab the end of your box. Okay. And you're going to put in your right hand and just like heel and walk this way. And slow stop. Very good. Okay. So now we can start also pressing other things with the long leash. I'm not sure if we
did a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's right. We did a bit. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and she's pretty good on the wall. I mean, like, she's even at the point where even if she's not in the heel command, she just thinks she is now.
She defaults. Yeah. My dog's the same thing.
Yeah.
So all that looked fine in terms of the exercise. It was just remembering the steps back. She was responding to the word for the most part, except for a couple she got a little distracted.
Yeah.
Normal. And then the only other thing was just getting her to speed up, and of course that little bit there where she got distracted probably by that dog.
Yeah.
Then you turn and tap and correctly brought her back, and that was all good.
So can I tap her for speed? What do you do? Because she's technically doing what I asked her to.
Right.
But not as expediently as I would like. So
Right.
what?
So there's two ways about that. One is I play with the power.
Okay.
And, for 44, 50, 56, whatever, and so eventually maybe it's 78, and all of a sudden she's being into you.
Sure.
Because the brain wants to move quick enough to avoid the tap happening again. Okay, so that's one way to do it.
Okay.
The other way to do it is yes, she's moving towards you, but you could also kick in with like kind of intermittent rapid fire taps. In the beginning, what you see is like, let's say she's moving towards you, tap, tap, tap. The dog goes, no, right, wrong way. And then you go tap, 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 tap. And she's like, okay, that's wrong.
Right.
And she comes back and it speeds him up. So then the tap doesn't mean turn away, it means go faster. Okay?
Right.
So we'll figure out what's going to work best.
Okay.
There's no kind of,
It just depends on the dog?
yeah,
or?
every dog's different.
Okay.
Some dogs, you just, do a couple of rapid fire taps and they just run towards you.
Yeah.
Other dogs take a little bit more work, okay?
Okay, yeah.
So we'll work on that now. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to layer in what I call implied stay with the body. So like with the heel, walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop.
Yep.
Recall is very similar. If you call Luna, she comes towards you. And let's say she auto sits. If you're to move, what do you think she should do? Exactly, she follows you, okay? But it's an exercise more so to cement that, that behavior that's part of the command, making it really clear to her, like, okay, once mom calls me, there is no premature leaving, and I need to be right here. Okay, so it's a very simple exercise. The other thing that it does is we may see her get confused.
Okay.
So like if you move aside and she doesn't move with you and you tap her, it might send her
Away.
okay. So if that happens, kind of like there, tap, 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 I don't say anything, I make her return, and she goes, oh, okay, tap didn't mean move away, tap meant to move in. So I think last week I talked about every time you call her, you have to tap, because at some point you'll mistap and confuse her, send her away. It's the same kind of scenario, okay? So I'm trying to create a lot of situations where we would force that issue so that we can clarify it for her. We're like, no, tap doesn't ever mean run, no, it means to return.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so it's super simple. You're gonna continue with doing a normal recall like you have been. Luna come, she moves towards you. Once she's in your immediate space and after she settles, what you would do is then move either to the side or backwards.
Okay.
So very awkward stuff like this or like this, okay? We wouldn't want to move forward. Do you know why?
Because then that's heel.
It looks like heel. So I don't know if she's following me or she's default heeling.
Right.
Okay. You also
Which
don't.
she's already doing pretty much.
Exactly, right? So I move in awkward directions because she doesn't know how to heel with that.
Right.
I also wouldn't want to go like this if I go to the right because that looks like heel.
Right.
Right?
Because you're still okay.
You're still turning, you're still moving forward.
Right.
We move very awkward with side steps. You can even angle it like this is just fine.
Okay.
Or straight backwards, right? You might get one where Luna lands in front of you and she can't see you, and I like to do this.
Sure.
Right? So a lot of clients are like, oh, that's unfair, the dog can't see you. I'm like, but when you move, you're making noise. Dogs are very in tune to you, and I'm trying to make her as in tune to me as possible. So any little movement, whether or not she's looking at me, doesn't matter. Her part of her brain is stuck on, is mom doing something as she's paying attention.
Right.
Okay?
Where is mom? What is she doing?
Exactly. So I don't need her staring at you or anything like that. I just need her close to the body and be mentally aware of what I'm doing. Okay? Questions on any of this stuff?
Nope.
So I'll coach you through the first couple, and then I'll have you do some, she's recognizing the break now.
Oh, she loves it. Did I tell you last week, mostly when she breaks, she does something.
Oh, really? A little better enough. All right. You're at 44?
Yes. Stay there. What do you want?
Strike 58.
Oh.
Oh, no, 48.
48.
48, sorry. I did my math wrong. Back. One, tap, 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 back. There it is, back, tap. A little bit more speed there. Now you're gonna take 3 steps backwards. Oh, you got it.
Sorry.
You're fine. Good. Good. Great. Then all this is implied.
Yeah.
So we don't, it's all built in set.
Okay.
And we'll come a little bit more this way. So you don't end up walking into that TV.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. Oh, back, good. Back. 1, tap, tap, 2, tap, 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 back, tap, 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 tap. Right there. Good. Good. One more. Very good.
Good. Luna.
Let's go to 52. But she's getting a little bit more quick.
You know what I realized? I never emailed you about the prongs, so I'll have to Amazon off.
About the prongs? Oh, yeah.
I don't know. She seems to respond well the more the numbers go up, but it's probably one of those things we should just do.
Yeah, it'll get you better contact. So, like,
Right.
let's say 52 ends up being the perfect number.
Yeah.
With the probes, it might be like 36 because it's better
Right.
contact.
And it's just hard to tell, I think, because she's still learning, so sometimes a 35 is great, you know, like... Luna, come.
Good. There you go. her. There you go. Like that, good. Hold right there. Excellent. Good. Good. There you go. Careful.
It's harder for mom than Lou.
Very good. Do 2 more. So you see how that speed?
Yeah, it's really, yeah.
Very quick, yeah. So 52 looks like to be doing pretty good here. Good. Good. That's okay. Try now.
She got stung by a bee yesterday or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Back tap, tap. There you go. Right there. Very good. Last one.
Yeah, I can give her a better but she's still every now and then kind of goes to, yeah. I think she laid out underneath her. I mean, it was pretty immediate.
Yep.
Yeah. This is her second bee sting in like a week though.
Wow, really?
She loves flowers, I guess.
Oh.
The other one was under her chin, so that swelled up quite a bit. This one just has like a red and white mark on her belly. But it's a lot better now than it was.
She didn't swell up or anything?
No, but I gave her the Benadryl pretty quickly because this was the second bee sting. Oh, so now she's going through, yeah. I think it's just irritating her.
Here are you.
Okay. You get stung again. That's not actually statistically. Alright, wanna come?
There you go. Tap, tap back, good. Good. Very good.
Now, do you know why she broke in the middle there? There's pretzels on the ground.
Right here?
Yeah, somewhere around
That's how, because I saw her, she like really got, I was like, I didn't see anything.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. That was good.
All right. Good. So give her a moment to rest. So better speed now.
Yes.
So all it took was playing with that number. So now that speed that we created there, for me, is pretty good. It can be even faster.
Okay.
It really comes down to the what the owner knows the dog is capable of. Like there's one dog that I worked with that was like just super lazy, and I asked the owner, I'm like, does your dog ever like zoom around and stuff? They're like, nah. Like I don't think I've ever seen my dog run for anything. And I'm like, okay, the chances are this is your dog.
Sure.
Well, that's fine, right? But if we know she's capable of more, you simply just keep playing with that number to motivate her to want to beat the punch and get there as quickly as possible. Because she's thinking the sooner I get to mom, the sooner this isn't a problem. Okay?
Yep.
So with higher power, people tend to think, well, wouldn't that make the dog deflect? And I go, technically, yeah, and that happens too. But if that happens, then I just work the dog through it and make them return. Regardless, the dog has to do it. Okay? So here, when you practice with her, when you're like, you know, with Melissa or whatever, if you're like, that's a pretty slow recall, I know you can do better, play with that number.
Right.
Okay, so we went from, was it 44 to 48 to 52?
Yeah.
Right? And then find that speed, because what you practice and rehearse is what you're going to get essentially in real life. There's two parts to the recall. There's the turn and the return. Okay? The turn is she's running towards something like this to you, right? That part. And then the return, of course, is this part. And you want to have both to be as fast as possible.
I know. So
With the turn, the reason for that is, let's say she's chasing something or running towards something. If she has a slow turn, the brain will kind of re-engage with what's going on and then go towards that again. Okay? On the return, and I've had clients say, like, they've seen it. It's saying the dog's coming back, but it's so slow. They're like, but what about that squirrel I was chasing? And then they go back to the squirrel. But when everything is quick, 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 there's no space for the dog to get too distracted. Okay? So we always look at her turn looked pretty good, except for when she got tangled.
Better?
But other than that, whenever you called her, it was pretty much an instant response. And then on the 52, the run back was pretty quick. Yeah. Okay. Questions about any of that?
No.
Did we talk about how we could make this a bit more realistic last time?
I don't remember. I think I said I was going to practice in the park anyway.
Right, which is already realistic, right?
Yeah.
But like let's say you have somebody to help you, and like you have an empty environment, like there's no dogs or whatever. I can't remember if we did this, taking the leash and moving away and doing the recall during the walk away.
Oh, during the walk away. Okay.
Yes. So like right now I'm holding her, right?
Sure.
Because first we were trying to achieve the foundation, which is just move to you, and now it's adding in the side step exercise, right? And then it was like, now we want them to move a bit faster. So the next thing is, how do we make this to be more realistic? Typically when people call their dogs, they're chasing something, they're running away, or they're running towards something they shouldn't, right? It's almost always some kind of away motion. We want to replicate that. So when they're at the dog park, it's great because she's engaged, moving around, doing the comp, that's very realistic. In the case of her running away or chasing something, you want to practice that away motion. So if I have someone that can help, or you have someone that can help, they would take the leash, and I'll do this with you right now, but they'll simply take the leash. We always start with walking. Make it simple, which is walk away. You would call Luna, ideally before you hit the end of the long leash, to get her to turn around, and I keep going.
Okay.
So I want her to respond to the remote.
So you're just going to drop the short leash and continue walking forward.
Correct.
Okay.
And I want her to respond to either your verbal cue or the remote. Ideally, I don't want her to need the tension to kick in before she turns around.
Right.
Okay? We do that a few times. If she's doing really well with breaking away and disengaging from me and she's running towards you, then I move towards, okay, I'm going to take Luna and I'm going to run away with Luna.
Right.
And it's the same process. You would call her randomly at some point and she should disengage from me and the foot towards you. Okay? So what we'll do is we're going to work on that exercise. Don't worry about the side steps now.
Okay.
Okay, we're just worried. Now we're focusing on.
Just catch her in motion.
Yes, exactly. Whenever you do your training with her, dogs learn better with topics, right? So like the first week, it was just get her to follow you with one topic.
Oh, they do? Wow.
Yeah. And like little,
Just
you have to have a focus.
for the next week, we're going to focus on returning from walking away.
Something like similar, right?
Okay.
Or like for your training session, because if you try to work on speed, the side steps, the breaking away while in motion, you have three things you're working on. You're not going to get. I would say like the dog's not going to get any of it, or you're going to get very little of everything, right?
Right.
So I go topic by topic by topic to make it very clear for the dog. Oh, okay, I just move faster. And then I just stick to mom when she moves. And then when mom calls me when I'm running away, I still come to her.
Right.
You're making it very simple.
Okay.
So when you go into training, the way I look at it as it's to teach something new or to improve upon something the dog already knows. Okay. So like let's say with heel, you had your short leash. First we worked on just heel. Then we worked on teaching you the motions of heel, the left turns and all that stuff, cueing it. And then we moved towards put heel on a long leash. You're still doing heel, but now you moved into a long leash to give her a 30-foot mistake line in case, she gets confused, we can prove things a bit more, right? So we're moving topic by topic, not just for the human, but also for her, okay? So if you go to Travis to work with her, and you're like, man, Luna's slow, then focus on the speed and don't worry about the other stuff.
Do you change by day or by couple of days, or what mood she's in? Like, how do I know? Like if she's doing poorly, if she's lazy one day on speed,
sure,
do speed, and then the next day it might be a different day. Like, is that normal for it to change?
Yeah, I mean,
Day.
You have to keep practicing a set thing in order to create consistency, right?
Yep.
So like, just like let's say, like right now, I am watching how I eat.
Yes.
Right? And I have a calorie count. Mm-hmm. And at first it was really hard to like, how much is everything worth calorie-wise, right? Now I've been doing it for a week and a half to 2 weeks, that I have a good idea of what it, and now I know how to portion myself,
sure.
right? But it took me doing it then consistency.
Of staring at the number. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for her, it's the same thing. Like it's like if you're always getting speed, you're building that consistency, but it's not going to be perfect every day.
Right.
You're going to have to work on stuff where it's like, okay, this was sloppy, so on and so forth. You might switch topics, and you can switch topics within a training session, but you would just do it one at a time.
Okay.
So here we did the review, then we worked on the side step exercise, then we worked on the speed, right? We're doing all these things at once, but topic by topic still.
Right.
So you don't have to do topic by topic by day.
Okay.
It's more so like, okay, I'm working on this. Oh wow, that's kind of sloppy or that's kind of slow.
Okay.
I'm gonna practice this some more. Now I'm gonna shift gears and work on this.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
I do try to keep training sessions shorter. If you're doing repetitive, redundant, like return,
Sure.
all stuff. 10 to 15 minutes max.
Okay.
You know.
Yep.
So you can do 5, 5, and 5, and work on 3 different things, and you call it quits there. And then maybe you let her have some fun, and Nash comes out, and you're like, oh, let me slap the long leash on her and just let her play for 10 minutes, and then do a random recall. See what it looks like realistically, when she's distracted, right? You see puppies all the time. Yeah, so that's why I always recall takes the longest. What I usually recommend for people, the sequence is short leash, long leash, drag, no leash enclosed area to no leash unenclosed area.
Okay.
Is how I lay it out for people. A lot of people just skip straight to like long leash to no leash.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'll tell them, just be aware, the reason why we take time practicing is the more time you practice outside is the more you're exposing yourself to something happening during those times.
Sure.
So like I've come across at least 30 off-leash dogs here.
Right.
Whereas the average, and this is in the span of like, I don't know, like a month and a half. Whereas the average person might come across one in the span of 6 months. But they're not out as often as we are. Does that make sense? So little things like that do matter. But otherwise, everything's looking good. Her speed is good. She got that sidestep thing super easy. Her attachment to does help with that. But there's attachment and then there's
I
trade
promise
attachment.
we're working on it. Both of us are working on that.
So,
I left her twice this weekend. On Friday and Saturday.
let me think here. So the next thing we're gonna work on is the walkway.
Okay, can I ask a question? Is it fair, so I'm gonna head out to my parents' house maybe on like Wednesday or Thursday for the weekend. She likes my mom, but again, not as much as she likes me. Can my mom hold food in her hand while she's walking away and have me work on it, or is that really not fair?
No, absolutely.
Oh, great.
Because life's not fair.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, is if my mom's holding chicken and gives her one bite, but holds the other bite, and then I do the recall, that might be a really
You can
good...
use whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing would be, you're probably only going to be able to do a few reps because at some point she's going to think chicken means mom's going to come at some point.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So don't be surprised if that happens.
Okay.
I'm
trying to think of what would entice her to walk away from me.
Oh,
It's like
so yeah, that's
actually
what the second leash is for. The second leash, just take her and
well, yeah, but as soon as I call her, she wants to come.
Right. It's how do you say, like,
she's still getting the training.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as that tap kicks in, because let's say she did respond because of attachment, right? And then you tap her, and she's like, "Whoa, maybe that wasn't right." Like you're still gonna get something out of it. Like either you're gonna confuse her and you can proof it, or she gets the tap and she's like, "Okay, I'm really coming now." Okay. As opposed to like the whole like mentally still being stuck to you, and that's the only reason why it's really working. Yeah. I have another client's dog who's just like that, and I told him like it's technically working to your benefit, but that's why remote is so important to layer in the case of like where it's not going to help. Like if she's panicked and like running away from something. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, so we'll try that again, or now we're going to do 5 of the walk away.
Right.
There we go. And I would call her about 15 feet into the leash.
Okay.
We'll move sideways here a bit. And I'm going to come this way. So I have you be here, and I'll move straight that way, okay? So this way, when you call her at 15 feet in, she still has some slack to go with me. Okay. Because we want her to respond from a lower cue. We're not wanting her to hit the end of the leash before she responds, ideally. Okay.
Okay. Luna, come.
There you go. And back 1, 2, 3. There you go.
No extra.
No back. That was good. Now, right there, you called her, right? And then you see the headway. That was the tap.
Yeah.
That's good. So, because that higher power there, is a lot of times can a lot of times deter the dog.
Okay.
Okay, so she got it. She shook her head. She's like, "I'm still coming." She had good pace, and she sat right on top of those feet. Yep. Okay, that's the other thing about higher power, is the dogs a lot of times coming even closer.
Okay.
Where she lands doesn't matter, but like they'll like hug in and they'll be right on your side, or they'll sit right on your feet, or they'll go between your legs.
Okay.
So like this morning, the dog that we work with kept running in between Did he keep going between circles?
Oh.
He was getting super close.
I saw that elevator video. That was cute. That the dog knows to.
Oh, to go through with
that's
rudder.
cute. We don't do elevators, but that's the fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was more so not trained
Right.
or taught. It's just the dog was like, if I'm gonna get really close, this is the closest I can get, right?
Right.
So they go between the legs.
Yeah.
So where she lands, I personally don't care about. I just care that she's in my immediate space, right?
Okay.
Front, left, back, front, between the legs. Now, if you wanted her to favor a side, we can teach that. It just adds an extra step to the recall. Okay? And you just let me know when I teach it.
I guess I would say left because that's her heel. But
Sure.
I feel like there are situations where I'm going to want it to be to the right too, so I don't know.
Right. Oh, I
Then
see what
would
you're
be
saying.
Positioning my body.
What you could do then, if you wanted to do either or, is you go out and you have like food on you. And then when you call her, like let's say you're wanting to come to your right, you have your food in your right hand, and you have it down once she's moving towards you to target, right? And you do that every time you call her, and you just pick which side you want her to go to. And then eventually, she starts to recognize when mom calls me, if I see this hand down, I target this
Then I
side.
move
If
her
I see this hand down, I target this side.
Okay. And then for me, I can put one hand on my hip or something, so she's going to see just without food. Which
Correct.
As well.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you add that difference. Dogs will recognize that. You can do stuff like that.
Okay.
But the food helps her because when she arrives, she may not in the beginning. She might be too concerned with the remote. Is if she came here, I would take my hand in, bring it to her nose, and just lead her here.
Okay.
And then just feed. And don't worry about perfection.
Right.
Right. It's just like
as long as
this
she's in a
side.
seated position.
Right.
Yeah. Don't
This
feed her
side.
standing side, sitting side.
Correct.
Yeah.
But she may be positioned, all sorts of different ways, but just in this side, right? And eventually she might start to connect. Oh, when I see that hand, it's got something there, and you'll start to see her straight shot to it, and then you can start developing it to like something more.
Okay.
But I would first focus on the basic part of just recognizing when you put your hand down, there's going to be something there, so she learns to start targeting. Okay, and then we can build it off of that.
Yep.
Questions?
Nope.
Alright, so we're going to do 4 more. Great.
Luna, come.
There you go. 1, 2, 3. Girl. She's already trying to recognize it.
Luna, break. Break.
Try to walk away from it.
Luna, come.
There you go. Back 1, 2, 3.
You're good.
Good. Yeah, girl.
Yes. All right, break. Break. Good break. Good break.
I'm going to walk in and walk out.
Okay.
Oh, you know what else we can do? Is when I'm walking with her, you can walk in as well.
And
then you stop, yes. So she doesn't pick up on a pattern here. Because she's a cat, she's after her cat, she's assuming like I know at some point you're going to fall.
Right. Luna, come.
There you go.
Good. Right now. Sorry.
It's okay.
I was going for aesthetics. Luna, come.
Good. Very good. Now, although for the most part the turn was pretty good, I think there was 1 or 2 that was a little bit delayed, but for the most part the speed was consistent on the turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to add in same thing, but now I'm going to be running. Okay?
Oh, good, yeah.
I know, get my cardio in
Your
for
cardio
the day. You guys, man, making me run around.
You said you wanted the steps.
You want it all?
I know.
mean,
There we go. It's funny when I work with Enrique, who's one of my handlers at the facility, and he's a trainer, one of my junior trainers. If he's with me, I do the camera stuff, and I just have him do
Make him
everything. Which I should probably do now, not for the steps, right? So,
break.
same concept here, okay?
Break.
Once I get about 15 feet away, issuing that recall.
Sure.
All the same stuff applies. 3 steps back. Okay. Break.
Luna, come.
There you go. Cap, good. Yeah, girl.
Luna, come. Cheating.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's gonna happen.
Hey.
Now, tap back. There you go. If she ends up cutting it short again, I'm gonna show you something.
Okay.
Whatever you do, don't move back.
Don't move back.
Yeah,
Okay.
If she stops short,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you another thing to do to force mistakes,
Okay.
so we can prove it. Okay.
Yeah. Still immediately tap if I notice her sit too far away?
No.
Okay.
I'll
just don't
coach you.
Okay.
Yeah, but, right.
Break, Luna. Break. Luna, come.
So here, don't do anything. Just tap, 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 tap. There. Okay. So the difference here is just to test how well does she know the exercise. It took about 6 taps.
Sure.
But ultimately, you saw her just scoot around like, okay,
Like,
well,
oh, wait.
what could I do better, right?
Right.
And she scooted in.
Yeah.
What it could also do is possibly confuse her and send her off running,
Back towards
in
you or
which you would start
something.
tapping and then reversing.
Okay.
Okay? So we're trying to condition her brain to also respond to just remote. Does that make sense?
No verbal, no body, just tap.
Just tapping
Okay.
and then going, what is your assumption going to be? It should be just to move in, right? What she did. But we get dogs that get confused and they're like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. They run off. Then we kick in with the moving back and more remoting to get her to come back after that point.
Okay.
Once the dog is too far off, you have to move to get them to return to you. If it's just a little bit of space, you can just stay stationary, remote, to see if she'll figure it out herself.
Okay.
Okay? We'll do a couple more.
Yep. Break.
That'll get enough breath.
Good break. Jesse,
do.
keep going. Come on, get that cardio.
Ready?
Break. Oh, let's go, Jesse.
You guys are doing some squats first.
What?
So we're doing some squats first.
Let's try. I'm gonna bring her back in. Let's try that one more time. The one thing about this is that once she realizes the pattern,
Right.
It
She's
gets-
gonna just
yeah.
Come on. Luna, come. I mean, I think she's still too far away.
Yeah.
Right? I want to make sure I'm not unnecessarily.
Good.
I know, it's like 6 inches too far.
Good. Break. Last one.
Break. Yeah, sorry. I should have called her. Because she looks good in that.
And just be careful with that tree there.
Luna, break. Luna, come.
Right back, tap, 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 back, tap, tap, tap. Bump your number, tap, tap.
All right, so why that?
The ball.
Clean
Oh.
ball over there. I saw it earlier when,
Okay.
yeah, She got wind of the ball.
Okay.
And what's her number? And even still now,
It's still 52. Yeah, now she's watching.
Right. So go ahead and grab the end of your leash here, and go ahead and release her.
Okay.
Right.
Gonna break.
And it's like kind of meander that way. Let's see what she does. Try cutting to your left. There you go. That's fine. Yeah, let her get distracted. Good. Go ahead and go after that ball.
I have 1 day left.
Walk backwards here. So you pause there. So she thought recall. This is fine. So I was trying to see if she'd get distracted by the ball again.
The other ball, yeah, because that would have been perfect timing that it went that way. But,
Yeah, but that's the whole, when I was talking about speed and stuff, like right there, she was on the return, and then for whatever reason, like, oh, what's going on over there, right?
Yes.
So if you have really good urgency, both on the turn and the return, you don't even see that. It's just a straight shot, right? Where we're at now with the obedience and like in the stage for recall, it's good, but it can be better, okay? Because you can either create all that stuff, again, practice consistency, or if it's like, okay, she's not getting better at this level, and I've done this for a week or so, I know I need to bump it up, to 56 or 60 or whatever it is.
By the way, she loves frisbees. Like, she wants to get it and chew it, destroy it. So this is one of those ones. Yeah, those are. She doesn't even care much about. I mean, she likes balls, but she's more indifferent. She loves a frisbee. Can't even buy them anymore because it takes her 10 seconds to destroy them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She already learned how to like break them and stuff?
Yeah, because that's how we learned to play fetch and swim.
Gotcha.
Just with a frisbee, because I thought it'd be easier for her small mouth than a ball.
Sure.
She just takes it back to the beach and starts to chew it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if they make. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like frisbees.
I'm sure there's an indestructible one. Yeah, right. Yeah. She has a couple indestructible toys that are now gone, but
no.
For a small dog, quite a bite. Really interesting.
Yeah, no, they got pretty powerful jaws.
Yeah.
My pit, there's certain stuff I just don't get because I know it's like not gonna last.
She can even the elk antlers. They only sometimes last a day or two. If she's really in a chewing mood, she'll start to break pieces of it on, then I just have to take them away. And I don't keep them out at night for her. In case she chews, I don't let her have any antlers unsupervised now. And those are supposed to be, however strong.
Yeah, no, antlers, like it takes my pick quite a while to get through an antler.
She'll get through the end of an antler pretty quick.
Wow.
Like, I have to really watch it. I don't know what breed. I mean, she's a bunch of breeds, but I don't know who it is. The Chow, the Boxer, I don't know. It's not the Lab or the Golden or the Aussie, I wouldn't think. The Pyrenees, the Boxer,
Maybe.
the
I mean,
Chow, I don't know.
I mean, her jaw doesn't look that big, but there's a lot of power.
There must be like a lot,
Oh,
as
yeah.
opposed to like my last dog, which was a Golden, who really couldn't destroy much of anything other than stuffed animal.
Good. So,
Anyway, yeah, frisbee.
other questions?
No.
No? Okay. Trying to think here. So in terms of practicing the recall stuff, like you already have realistic context. If you have someone to help you, you can try this stuff.
Yeah.
The next step would be you let the leash drag, and we can get further out. So you're not restricted by the length of the leash always. Because that would be like the leash dragging type of phase.
Sure.
Now, when I do that, I suggest that the owner stays close to the end of the
Be
leash
able to step on
in
it.
case they step on it. If you're working with someone, it's not such a big deal because they have the ability to get catch leash too. But it's more so like, let's say she's like distracted by something here, and like you put the leash down. What I typically tell people, like, so that's like the next step, like no leash in your hand, because dogs have learned by visual cues as well. So like if you call her and she sees that long black leash leading to your hand, she knows it's like a pathway. So then when we drop it, a lot of times the dog doesn't see that and then acts like they don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
So what I would do is, like, let's say she was distracted by something here. I feel like I'm posing now.
Just point and freeze.
I know. Just why is he moving so like robotic like? So I'd have the long leash one back like this, right? And then I would give myself some slack.
Okay.
Like I'd step in 10 feet.
Oh, right.
So if I go through the
you're
come,
there.
exactly, I have
Okay.
something to step on.
Yep.
So at this point, if you get to long leash dragging, because she's doing really well, I try to refrain from grabbing that leash. So, it's on the ground, I give myself some slack, Luna come, tap, tap, she's going the wrong way, I step on it, tap, 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 and the moment she turns to come to me, then I continue with the movement back. Okay? So I'm using this to limit her range of motion, I'm tapping her, she's going, I can't get anywhere, this is going on, I guess I'm incorrect, turns, and to acknowledge that she's correct for that turn, is I initiate that movement back, she's, oh, boom, and she goes back, right? So we start to wean her off of the need of that visual cue of the long leash in her hand. Okay?
Sure.
Questions about that?
No.
So we did, what is this, class number 4?
4. Yes.
4, okay. So we did the 2 heels and we did like the
2
recall
heels,
stuff.
beginner recall, and then 4. Yeah.
Okay. Does she know stay at all?
Kind of. She's not a great listener because, again, mom is life. So we worked on it a fair bit. She's aware the word exists, which I think she understands what it means.
Okay. So let's try this. Put her in a heel.
Okay.
Like walk for a bit, come to a stop.
Okay.
And then show me how you've done stay.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry about wrong, right, none of that stuff.
Okay.
Just show me how you do it.
Heel. Stay. Stay.
Go ahead and you can take the long leash off, grab your short leash. All right. Go ahead and you're gonna put her in the heel, come a bit closer.
Heel.
And come to a stop when you're ready. And what we're going to do here is, because you've done essentially 3 weeks of a bunch of remote means to come to me, she's just like really going to you. That or attachment issues, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to lay a remote over in that stay. So Luna's on your left, or you're with your left hand as close as you just gonna stay. Don't worry about if she's looking at you. Don't worry about getting the focus. Don't worry about if she's looking that way versus this way. Just stay, okay? And you're gonna pivot out in front of her with your right leg. And you're gonna swing out. So in one step, you should be right in front of Luna.
Okay.
Okay, and then you should be able to step back in. And now you're beside her.
Okay.
So it's a very awkward kind of movement. Stay, and now here, swing out like this.
Okay.
So then move the girl back like that, which
So
is
I'm
trying
just
to
making sure she doesn't follow my heel around.
exactly.
Okay.
So we're doing the opposite leg this time because heel is left leg. Now we're teaching the foundation of right leg means.
Okay.
When you go to move, we're going to assume she's going to make a mistake.
Sure.
So what you would do is you would shorten your leash, and then when you go to swing out, if Luna gets up, you pause, pull up on the leash, up on the way.
Okay.
Exactly. So
Okay.
go up, you can stop her from getting to you. You would tap to put her butt down, and then continue with what you were doing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're to move again, you go up, tap, get her to sit, and then back to her side. You're trying to refrain from allowing Luna to get here.
Okay.
Because if you step away and you tap her to get her to sit back, and she's here, she thinks that's what she's supposed to do. And you're trying to teach her this isn't it. You gotta go back to where you were there.
Right.
Okay, so I think, let's see how much leash do you have? Going to go about 6 inches shorter. Because you want immediate contact. Because the moment your leg goes, your arm goes up, you're stopping her, and you're like ready, right?
Right.
If needed, like this, and tap. I don't care if she moves a little bit. Okay, I just want her to put that butt down so that I can relax and then return. I just don't want her returning in all the way to me.
Okay.
Because then she'll think like recall or heel or sure.
Where
Okay.
does the tap come in? Do we tap? Where does the tap come in?
And when you're pulling up.
As soon as I pull up. So
Yes.
otherwise, no tap.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we're at 50. What?
53.
Let's go down to 45. And you can try it from here.
Okay.
Stay.
Luna, stay.
Up. Tap. And relax. Wait, up. There you go. You're good. You're good. You're at 45?
Yeah.
Let's go to 38. And back to her side. Tap up. Excuse me. Stay.
Luna, stay.
Up, tap. Wait. Relax. Back to her side. Wait. Up, tap. Good. Go ahead and go back to her side again because she like completely swiveled. Up, tap. So what's happening here is her nervousness is causing her to overcompensate.
Okay.
And also when you return, she's scooting out of position. Okay, so when you see that happening, I'm not gonna care if when you pull up and tap that it's perfect.
Okay.
What we're trying to teach her is that when you move in, there's no need to move.
Okay.
Okay, so you're correcting technically, but you're not asking for perfection.
Okay.
You're just teaching her, if you get up, this is gonna happen until you go back to position. After you do that a few times, you should be able to step in without moving. Okay, it's all just her nervous response.
Luna, stay. Stay.
Up tap. Relax. Wait a moment. Back to her side. Up tap. Tap. Good. Back to her side. Up tap. Right. Relax. Wait a moment. Back to her side. Up tap. There you go. Tap. 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 Yep, tap. It's okay. There it is. Good. Then relax. Good. Back to her side. Right. A little bit better. So here, every time she gets up, we might have to shorten it on the return.
Okay.
Because what's happening is she's got, you're correct in the length in terms of stepping away, but on the step in, it's giving her a lot of slack to swivel out,
Go away. Okay.
right? So then I would shorten it so that you're trying to keep her tap, and now relax, tap, relax, and shorten, right there, right? So when you go to step in, if you can, as you're sweeping in, when she gets up, kind of freeze, up, tap, to get her to be stationary, and then continue with the rest of the movement. If she gets up, we're going to keep repeating that, okay? This is a lot more nervousness than the average nervous dog that I get.
Yeah. And why is she so nervous? Because she's confused when I'm asking?
No, it's just when you move into her space, it just, I had a little, it was like a chihuahua that we worked with, and he had the exact same problem. Every time the owner would move into a side, he would jump off.
Yeah.
So we did essentially what I'm showing you here, and eventually learned to hold the nerves.
Okay.
So it's nothing good or bad.
Yeah.
It's just her brain literally cannot help that.
And why is she nervous around me? Because this is just
Yelling at her?
No, Jesse, never. She's perfect. Why would I?
No, it's just
Just because.
with the owners the same thing too. They're like, why is it like it's a nervous dog?
What are you
know?
doing? Okay.
And then like because we're also making her contained.
Okay.
You know, when she gets up. So the tap, like, and that's when we went down lower. So we went from 53 to like, was it 44 or
Yes,
whatever?
now we're at 38.
38.
Yeah.
Because when we're looking to create stationary positions, we go lower because higher tends to make dogs want to move faster or move a lot. So we go down lower because I'm anticipating it's going to make her fidget. So that's why when I said tap, when you were tapping, did you notice I only said it like once or maybe twice?
Right.
Because I was letting her process the tap.
What is it that being asked?
So it's kind of like when we were doing the auto sits the first class.
Right.
Remember how awkward it was? And then after you did the first 2 to 3, then it became easy peasy. It's the same kind of concept.
Okay.
Is when she feels the tap, her brain has to process it, but she has to go through nervousness first.
Right.
Then logic comes in and she's like, okay, put my butt down.
This is what I'm wanting to. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But she literally cannot help that nervousness.
Okay.
You know, it's just seeing if we can work her through it.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem. If anything, if she's too much with that issue, I would just put a prong on her, and it'll help us get keep her more stabilized until her nerves are settled, and then we take it off.
Can I do stay at a 35 because that tends to keep her everyday walking and heel?
Yeah, whatever's working.
Okay. That's kind of been my default lately, just for a walk. In the park, I usually go higher.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and reset here. We'll put her in a heel, and then we'll go into a stay. Right? There you go. It's okay.
Should I go back to my side position to heel, or should I try it from here? Like,
Lightly pull in towards you. There you go. See if you can just scooch beside her there. Wait a moment. Right. Then the stay.
stay.
Then the pivot. Up tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Wait. Good. See how she slowly sits? That's good. Now slowly back to her side. There you go. A little bit better. Tap, 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 tap. Better. Better. Relax that arm. Good. Heel. Tap. There you go. Tap. Better. There you go. Better. Tap. Good. Back to her side. Right there. That's okay. I'm gonna accept that for now. You see how that got better though? Mm-hmm. Part of it's because you went down to 35.
Yeah.
So you still had contact to tell her what you wanted her to do, but not so much that it was setting off the nerves. Okay. So this is something like when we do like down and sit type stuff.
Okay.
It's usually we go lower.
Yeah.
And then once the dog processes it, if we need to go higher, they won't be so freaked out about it. And when we need speed and movement, like with the heel or with the recall, then we go higher.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do one more.
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah. Much better.
Stay.
Tap. Right. Let her process. Good. Better. Tap. Good job. That's okay for now. Good. Better.
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah. Good. It's okay. Good. Pull in, tap. Tap. There we go. Looking better. Go ahead and break.
Break.
So for this week, that was just because we had some time left
Just
over.
extra. Okay.
I would focus on the recall, and if you do the stay stuff, all you're worried about is getting her to not respond to nervous.
Okay. Right.
Movement.
With her anxiety. Okay.
And then when you started saying stay, do you know why she started already fidgeting? Because she's knowing like you're gonna step out and there's gonna be some kind of tap, so
Right.
she's anticipating.
So if I move now, I'll avoid the tap.
Right. So it's kind of like with the recall stuff. When I was walking with her, eventually she just kept
She
pulling
just kept
back.
right. I'm not going
'Cause
to bother. Okay.
she's getting, yeah. So that's why this stuff, I keep it short,
A couple times.
2 to 3 minutes, right, times a day, because I'm trying to avoid this kind of stuff. But obviously, you have to train her, so we go through a lot within a session.
Right.
In terms of the stay, you can also incorporate on your walks. Like, let's say you hit a red light, you can try doing a stay there, just
Oh,
here and
right.
there.
Just because I've got a moment. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't worry about it too much. This is just the first step of it, getting her used to you stepping away and stepping back in. And teaching her to contain herself and not get so heavy. Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
Good job, Luna.
Saw Jared the other day. Like, was doing